Leigh Martinuzzi from Martinuzzi Property Group. Quick heads up, I'm actually away right now for a business training in Caloundra, so I'm using a bit of AI to help me get this update out to you. Same local insight, just delivered a little differently this week. Now, if you've been reading the headlines, you'd think the property market is falling off a cliff, but the data and what I'm seeing on the ground tells a different story. This week is all about a maturing upswing, buyers getting more selective, and why quality homes are still winning. If you want the full write-up with the charts and the deeper detail, head over to martinuzzi.com.au or click the link in the description below. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so you stay ahead of the latest market updates and local property news. So first up, the vibe right now is confusing because the headlines are dramatic, but the market is more nuanced. We're not seeing a uniform downturn across Australia. What we're seeing is a market that's still moving, but it's fragmenting. Some areas are basically flat, some are still pushing forward, and that matters because it's the same story on the Sunshine Coast. There isn't one Sunshine Coast market, it's pockets, price points, and property types behaving differently. One of the best ways I've heard it described this week, and it really matches what I'm seeing, is that we're in an upswing, but it's maturing, and that's different to turning down. A maturing upswing looks like fewer impulse buyers, more negotiation, more price sensitivity, and a bigger gap between great homes and average ones. Interest rates don't usually flip the market overnight, they just dull the edge. So instead of everything flying, it's now the right homes that stand out. Now, zooming out to the national data for a second, because it gives us context, Cotality's numbers show the combined capitals are still up around 9.5% over the last 12 months, but the gap between cities is massive. Perth and Brisbane have been running hot, while Sydney and Melbourne have been much more subdued short term. That's the fragmentation I'm talking about. And it matters here because lifestyle markets like the Sunshine Coast tend to reflect those same forces: affordability, migration, and supply. So what does that mean locally? Affordability has definitely trimmed the buyer pool, but supply is still tight enough to keep a floor under values. And what I'm seeing week to week is this: if the home is well located, well presented, and priced properly, it still attracts strong buyer interest. But if it's compromised, busy road, awkward layout, obvious maintenance, or priced like it's still peak frenzy, buyers are pushing back. They're not disappearing, they're just shopping smarter. So for sellers, the market is still there, but you've got to earn the result now. And for buyers, there's more room to negotiate than there was, but when a genuinely good home hits the market, you still need to move. I get asked this all the time: how can prices keep rising when everything feels so expensive? And the simple answer is, prices aren't set by the people who can't buy, they're set by the people who can. There's still a big cohort of buyers who are active and not as rate sensitive: higher income earners, equity rich buyers, investors, and right sizers selling a big family home and buying smaller with little or no mortgage. Plus, there's more intergenerational help in the market than people realize. And what happens is buyers adapt, they change suburb, they change property type, they rent vest. Demand spreads out instead of disappearing. The other big theme this week is something I completely agree with. We're heading into a bigger divide where some properties outperform and others just don't. The biggest risk isn't timing the market. The biggest risk is buying the wrong property in the wrong location with the wrong fundamentals. In a market like this, quality wins. Street and position matters, presentation matters, pricing strategy matters, because buyers are comparing everything and they're ruthless now. Over the next week or two, I'm watching the simple stuff that tells the truth: stock levels, days on market, and how buyers are responding to the A-grade homes versus the compromised ones. That's where you'll see the market shift first. So that's the Sunshine Coast market in a nutshell right now: a maturing upswing, more selective buyers, and quality still winning. If you want to read the full blog with the charts and the deeper breakdown, head to martinuzzi.com.au or click the link in the description below. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss next week's update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week.